Someone told you, Practical Guide to Linux. I already read I suggest you read the foreword by Linus Torvalds himself. It's a very, very in-depth look on the life and creation of Linux. Anyway, I'm getting started on the preface today. I always call it preface, even though everyone calls it preface. It's because it's the preface to the book, but previous to the preface is the face of the book. Anyway, I don't know about copyright laws, but I'm just going to read this anyway and find out. I'm not going to have many more images of the book, because maybe those are protected. Okay. Just gotta balance it somewhere. Alright. This book is practical because it uses tutorial examples that show you what you will see on your terminal screen each step of the way. It is a guide because it takes you from logging into your system, more on Chapter 2, through writing complex shell programs, which are in Chapter 11, 12, and 13. Using a sophisticated software development tools, which are in Chapter 14, and administrating a system, which is in Chapter 15. Part 2 is a reference guide to more than 85 Linux utilities. Now, before I go further, I would suggest using the Linux in a nutshell for reference. This practical guide is intended for people with some computer experience but little or no experience with a Linux Unix system. However, more experienced Linux Unix systems users will find the later chapters in Part 2 to be useful sources of information on subjects such as GUIs, basic and advanced shell programming, editing, C, programming, debugging, source code management, networks, the Internet, the World Wide Web, graphical user interfaces, and Linux system administration. Anyway, the audience this book will appeal to a wide range of readers. As a minimum, it assumes some experience with a PC or Mac, but it does not require any programming experience. It is appropriate for users of both single and multi-user Linux systems, students taking a class about Linux, students taking any class in which they use Linux, computer science students studying operating systems, people who want to run Linux at home, professionals who want to use Linux at work, programmers who need to understand the Linux programming environment. Benefits to you, the reader. You will come away from this book with a broad knowledge of Linux and how to use it in a day-to-day work. Whenever you are a C or shell programmer, or a user who wants to run application programs or use the DOS emulator under Linux, this book will give you the knowledge to proceed. A practical guide to Linux gives you a broad understanding of Linux, including how to administer, maintain, and update the system. It will remain a valuable reference tool for years to come. Scope of coverage and features. A practical guide to Linux covers a broad range of topics, from writing simple shell scripts to recursive shell programming. Recursive is to do over and over. It's to explain again and again. It's to keep going and going and going and going. Anyway, recursive. Oh my god. Anyway, Simpsons. Shell scripts to recursive shell programming, from local email to using Netscape, which is out of date by now. You should be using Chromium. I use Chromium anyway. Lets you log in. Chromium lets you log in from any machine. Anyway, I like the way Google made it. Anyway, it's not whether Linux or Unix or Microsoft or Apple. It's not whether those are better or worse. It's which one do you prefer to use. It all comes down to a matter of preference, in my opinion anyway. Because a computer is a computer, let's all face it, we're all geeks. Like, I mean, you're watching this video, you're probably really into computers, or at least have a computer, so, I know at least one of my viewers does because I, know her personally. And I also know my friend Kaiser Plube, my friend Brandon. His YouTube channel is mostly surf videos because he didn't really use YouTube very often, but I said, hey, do you want to be on YouTube? And he said, yeah, I mean, I'd rather go on your channel because it's a little bit more viewers, and Also, he learns Arabic and Hebrew. Anyway, I'm reading this book for the first time, so I'm just like reading it out loud to keep it. I might not even put this on YouTube, so I don't even know. Anyway, back to a scope of coverage and features. Practical Guide to Linux covers a broad range of topics, from writing simple shell scripts to recursive shell programming, from local email to using Netscape to browse the World Wide Web, Chromium, from using simple utilities to source code management using RCS and CVS, from using a system to administrating one. Below is a list highlighting some of the features of the book, followed by more in-depth discussion of some of those features. Compatible with all distributions of Linux. Broad internet coverage, including any of those, blah, 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 blah. Part 1 and Part 2. Anyway, this is just the forward, or the table of contents. Here's the table of contents, which are good to hear. The brief contents. You don't want to see anyway, this is supposed to be brief, but it's about 20 pages of content here. 31. No, it starts on page 15. So it goes to, the contents go to page 17. Page 17. Oh, they go to 34. Oh, the L. So that's 34, and then 30. Oh no, 40. 41. 42. Okay, I see. To count in Latin is a bit different. 44. 44. Yeah. Whoa, 45, 46, 47. Anyway, so minus 15, or minus 10 first, so it would be 37, and 32 pages of contents. So this is supposed to be brief. Anyway, part 1 is the Linux operating system, Linux, a product of the internet, getting started, an introduction to the utilities, the shell, the Linux file system, the shell. Graphical user interfaces, which are more commonly known as GUIs, networking, and the internet. The VI editor. I don't really like using VI much, or it's called VIM now. I don't really know how to use it. But maybe, I mean, I could see the usefulness of it would be when you're unable to log into your X Windows system, so you would need to log in under the grub manager into a shell editor, any kind of basic shell editor, or press even more commonly Control-Alt-F2, which I need to restart sometimes. So that's why I'm trying to install Debian. Right now I have Ubuntu. I want to do a multi-boot system. I want to have 4 operating systems at one point, but all I need for now is to adjust the partition so I can install at least one more. From there, I can always be able to boot into a separate partition, so it's not mounted, and I could technically run Windows XP and Mac OS X, Snow Leopard. Those are the ones that I'm going to install. I have the images ready to go onto a USB stick. I just don't have one right now. You could donate, and I could buy one and show you a video of installing Linux if you want it. But you can send an email, and I'll get it more efficiently. It's alex.loringer.1988@gmail.com. I'll write it in a little box thing that I'll put in while the video is uploading. Anyway, so we got table of brief contents. Linux operating system. Linux, a product of the internet. Getting started. An introduction to the utilities. The Linux file system. The shell. Graphical user interfaces. Networking and the internet. The VI editor. The Emacs editor. The Born Again shell. Shell programming. The TC shell. The Z shell and advanced shell programming. Programming tools, system administration, and then it goes into part 2, the Linux utility programs. Regular expressions, help, emulators, the Post Standard, glossary, index. Oh, here's the okay. Part 1, Chapter 1, Linux product of the Internet, the heritage of Linux, Unix. So, what's so good about Linux? I think I'll start there. I never edit my videos. So I don't give you I don't edit it later and add I'm gonna put this at the beginning. But someone else could probably eventually. But they would have to email me and talk about it, because we don't know until we talk about it. Ba-ding! Anyway, product of the Internet. I'm gonna try reading this from the screen, so it's like I'm having the same experience as the video user, as the user. Except not quite. The foundation for the Linux operating system. Okay, I can just go like this. The foundation for the Linux operating system was developed by a Finnish undergraduate student, Linus Torvalds, who used the internet to make his code immediately available to others at no charge. Refer to the foreword on page 7. Programmers previous 7. Programmers throughout the world were quick to extend this code, adding functionality matching that found both Berkeley Unix, which was called BSD apparently, and System V Unix, and adding new functionality as well. The Linux operating system was and is being developed through the cooperation of many people around the world. It is a product of the Internet. It is also a free operating system. You are always free to distribute it as you like, but whether you give it away or sell it, you must provide the source code with the operating system. Linux is a Unix work-alike. Now what this means is that someone who is used to using Linux will be right at home with Linux. In many ways, Linux has gone beyond Unix. It is more efficient, in many cases faster, and has more advanced development tools. That's cool. Anyway, the Linux culture is steeped in humor. Whoa, the light turned on. Steeped in humor. It's not a clap on. Anyway, man, that's weird. The light just went on. Anyway, Linux is a Unix work-alike. Someone who's used to using Linux will be right home with Linux. In many ways, Linux has gone beyond Unix. It is more efficient, in many cases faster, and has more advanced development tools. The Linux culture is steeped in humor that can be seen throughout the system. For example, less is more. The Unix paging utility named more has been rewritten and improved and is called less under Linux. Now that's kind of confusing. Let's read more about that. Let's look in the reference guide, the Linux in a nutshell. Let's look under the reference guide. I'm going to look under less. And the index. Now remember that an index is always in the back of the book. So make sure you have a proper understanding of how the book works before you do this. Make sure you understand what the reference pages go. I mean, which ones are good to read first, which are the introduction and all that, are on the left side. That way you know it's most likely a left book. But if you go to the east, they start on the other side. So make sure you know that before you dive into the book. You got to be careful when diving into the books. Anyway, Linux in a nutshell. There's the back. I'm going to look for less. G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. That's the most important thing to know in order to learn a computer. By the way, that's a secret. That's not a secret, but it's good. It's what I do. Sometimes I know that using things that seem silly at first may seem like they're not good to use, but they really do work as memory tools. And what I'm trying to learn is how to use it effectively. So that's where I am right now. I don't know where you're at because I'm not you. Anyway, it's been 15 minutes and 4 seconds into the video. I hope that anyone's still watching or skipping to this part. But just to recap, I am reading from some Linux books. I'm reading from Linux in a Nutshell right now, looking up for something I read in Practical Guide to Linux. They put things in bold that are actually commands. So they said less is more. And these are two commands I don't know right now, so I'm going to look them up in Linux in a Nutshell. Okay, now I'm going to look up more, because it might be different. The more command. So it was under less command. I want to see if it's consistent. It says less commands, and it says BZ less, and MO. MS-DOS is even in here. More command, page 305. So it's about 50 pages. Oh no, it's about 75 pages. It's exactly 75 pages. What was it, page 305? Hold on. Okay, they're all based on VI commands. You can specify a number before many commands to have them executed multiple times. For instance, 3:P causes more to skip back 3 files. The same as issuing :P 3 times. The optional number is indicated by NUM in the following list. Alright, so I should try it out on my Linux machine rather than use the quick reference, but that's a good thing to read, by the way. The battery is telling me it's not charging. It does that for some reason. I think I need to get a new cable for my iPhone. Anyway, there's IRC. If you don't know what IRC is, you should use it. Search on Google to find good IRC channels, because usually there's a forum or message board that exists prior to an IRC, or usually sometimes the other way around. They're recursive. They're very consistent of each other. Message boards would not exist without IRC. IRC would not exist without message boards, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, I stay on Linux Freenode. I stay on Ubuntu, and I stay on Linux, and I stay on a bunch of other ones. Who is me? I'm RX, ARECKX. I'm also on Ryzon and Japanese.utf8. Make sure you have UTF-8 enabled, because everyone else on IRC uses UTF-8. So use the modern, the current common language is what you should always remember. I stay in idle just because I don't know what's going on. Apparently I'm leveling up a character, but I guess it's just for fun. I can read it later, because it says some interesting stuff. Like, it says, like, people are challenging in combat, and you see other people's names, and you might know them from another channel or something. So it's like, oh, it's like, I know that person. I'm gonna, who is them? Or, anyway, right now I was going to actually do Control-Alt-T. Oh, I'm listening to Rainwave Game, not Rainwave, I'm listening to Global Beats FM on the Blue channel right now. You could join me anytime. I think it's based in Germany a lot, sometimes New Sound of Egypt. Right now I'm in RX at RX. I'm going to try out the info more. And then file perusal filter for CRT viewing. This is a filter for this is a control minus. It's Control Shift plus to make it bigger, but it's Control minus to make it smaller. It's not no Alt and no Control Shift. It's Control Alt T to open the terminal. More is a filter for paging through text one screenful at a time. Oh, that's good. This version is especially primitive. Users should realize that less provides more emulation extensive enhancements. Okay, so Control C usually exits out of there. I'm gonna do info less. Anyway, welcome to Info Less, where less is more at Info Less. Please log in to infoless.com. Actually, I don't know what infoless.com is. I'm not affiliated with it if it exists. So don't go around thinking that. Anyway, I'm just making a joke right off the top of my head right now. Anyway, it's 1:42 p.m. This is a 20-minute, 51-minute long into the video right now. I am doing the manual page for less. It's the opposite of more. Okay, I get it. Less is a program similar to more, but which also backward movement, which allows backward movement in the file as well as forward movement. Also, less does not have to read the entire input file before starting. So with large input files, it starts up faster than text editors, like VI. Less uses terminals. There is even limited support for hard copy terminals. But remember that this is for reference only. I am just making videos to help learn how to use the machine. I want to be able to work in an environment where I'm able to use my computer knowledge to an advantage. My goal in this life is to make sure that I've contributed my portion before I leave, at least. So right now I'm just doing a tutorial video. This is my first real tutorial video about a computer. I know there's a lot available, but sometimes people want more. So this is just my version, I guess. This is RX version 2.0, I guess. 1.0 was when I was when I was using the screen capture program. I would use now I'm using my iPhone, but before I would make videos without my voice because I didn't have a microphone. And so I would just make a video about Chinese reference materials, which you can find in my videos. If you go in my playlist, you can go through my blog in the opposite direction, starting from the first rather than the last. I mean the newest. See, there's different styles of YouTube. It's kind of changed. I liked the old one better. I like the look. So if I'm able to add my custom skins on YouTube, that would be very useful, because then I could use their new code but just apply skins so that it looks like the old one. Because really what I liked is the look of my layout, not really the functionality. So if they're always changing the code and they have to make something new every single time they add code, then I think YouTube would benefit from that. Anyway, 23 minutes is quite a long time. I'm going to give you guys a break. When I say guys, I mean YouTube, because you're the only ones watching. Anyway, guys and gals, it's the collective genderless guys. As in, hey guys, what's up? Like, I'm just trying to be friendly. I'm trying to improve myself. I'm trying to learn more about computers, because I know that in this day and age, people use computers. I was told that every single day I went to school, every single day I went into college. They always say, you need to learn computers. You need to sign up using the online system. You need to go to the system management email and email them. You need to, I knew from age 7 or 8 that computers were valid in our society, because my dad had worked at HP. He worked at Agilent Technologies. He developed a lot for Hewlett-Packard. He knows a lot about electronics. I think he could really get started on making tutorial videos on YouTube if I showed him. Right now he's getting started on the virtual image, which is the capture the capture image of his screen. and it's not as good quality as an actual video. But I mean, he's in a different stage, and he just wants to play his game Battle Pirates. He plays on Facebook, and he uses up all his internet. I said, like, you know, I kind of face palmed at that because I was like, you know, if a game uses that much bandwidth, then maybe you should play a different game. And I want to introduce him to StarCraft, because he would really like StarCraft 2. Or if he didn't like StarCraft 2, he would at least like a similar game like Command & Conquer, or something that uses the similar engine to Battle Pirates, but with a better and richer code and more efficient server that doesn't use up the internet as much. It needs to send less packets each time, because that's really what a server comes down to. Is in my belief, in my opinion. I may be proven wrong when I read more of these books, but you know, I know so little. But as far as I know right now, everything on the internet is constantly changing. It's really exciting. I'm sorry I'm a nerd. Deal with it. Anyway, later. And if I know Carrie might see my update, so Carrie, I love you so much. That's all I'm gonna say to you is that I'm gonna live my life to be. I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. Anyway, I gotta catch these videos. Anyway, I never review my videos, so be it. Sudo shutdown H now. 2 minutes. Anyway, oops, not sudop. Remember, you gotta always check for spelling errors, but it's okay because you can always press up key and go up, 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 but you can't do it when it's just the password. Alright, so it says the system is going down for a halt in 2 minutes. みんな元気だね。いい天気もらうように。この歩き出すの時に、そんなのにもうしっかりしたのか。今通りには、Linux を使えるよね。モニターの中に、そんなの見ていいのか。そのキーをカタカタしています。あのシステムも使うのに、仕事も探す。もう頑張ろうよね。もうしっかりしますよ。大家好，再见，みんな。